and I'm from Lekhapora Online, and today we're going to take a closer look at the types of questions in Ielts reading module. And this is part 1 of the video, so there are more videos coming up. So previously I did talk about the format of the reading exam, so if you haven't watched that, you can go ahead and watch that first. So there are 11 main types of questions in the Ielts reading module, which include multiple choice, short answers, completing sentences, completing summary or tables or notes, etc., labeling diagrams, choosing headings, locating information, identifying points to view, identifying right or explaining, classifying information, and matching lists or phrases. So in this video, we're only going to cover the first 3. So let's take a closer look at multiple choice. So for multiple choice, there's going to be questions with 3 to 4 options, and you need to choose the one that you think is correct. And you should be able to scan information and try to understand the text. You should be able to locate the information in the passage, and remember that answers come in order for multiple choice. So for example, if your first answer was from the second paragraph, then your second question, the answer will not be in the first paragraph. It will be after the second paragraph or in the second paragraph itself. And answers also use letters, so if there are 4 options, then you will have A, B, C, D to choose from. Okay, so this is a passage that I've taken from previous exam, and so this is not the whole passage actually. This is a part of the passage. So let's look at the question first, then we're going to come back to this. So again, when you see the question, read the instructions carefully. So over here again, you can see that they're asking you to choose either A, B, C, or D. That means it's never going to be more than one letter. So that means the answer is either A, B, C, or D. It can't be A and B both. And you need to write your answer in boxes 10 to 12. So this is something that is, you're going to get a separate answer sheet and you have to fill it up if the instruction says so. So please remember to read it carefully. So the question here starts from here. You want to read the question before starting to read the passage. You can read the questions and try to find out some points or highlight some points that you want to look for in the passage when you're reading it, so it's easier to find the answers, right? So if I were you, and if I read this question, I would highlight 1982 and soil erosion because they seem more important and they stand out in the question, right? At this point, I wouldn't read the options because I haven't read the passage yet, but I will just try to remember the highlighted points over here so that I can relate to all of this when I'm reading the passage. So this is the passage. Again, if you want, you can pause the video and try to read this out yourself and try to find the points that we highlighted and highlight them over here, which sentences are using them, and how they can help us during when we're answering the questions. So first word that we found in the question was soil erosion. So over here, if I were you, then I would try to find soil erosion. And as I can see, there's soil erosion over here, and then there's soil erosion. They're talking about soil erosion in US over here as well. And then over here, they're talking about the 1982 research that we saw in the question earlier. So all of these, after this line, is related to the 1982 research. And I would highlight them so that I can read them later when I'm answering the question. Okay, so soil erosion and 1982 over here. Okay, now let's take a side-by-side view of the passage that we highlighted and the questions. So 10 research completed in 1982 found that in United States soil erosion reduced the productivity of farmland by 20%. This is the first option. Okay, now we need to find out if it's correct or not. So the first one is saying that the soil erosion has reduced the productivity of farmland by 20%. In the passage, we saw that in 1982 it was discovered that 1/5 of its farmland was losing topsoil at a rate likely to diminish the soil's productivity. 1/5 here is actually, if you convert it to percentage, is exactly 20%. So the number here is correct, but is the statement correct? the statement is saying that it definitely reduced the productivity of farmland. But here it's saying that it's likely to diminish the soil's productivity, which is not the same. So it's definitely incorrect. Now let's look at the second option, which was so soil erosion in the United States was almost as severe as in India and China. Earlier we read that, over here I've highlighted, as you can see, that topsoil in India and China was vanishing much faster than in America, which means that in India and China it was more severe than in US. So B is also incorrect. Now let's take a look at C. So the soil erosion in the United States was causing significant damage to 20% of farmland. Again, 20% is correct, but is the statement correct? It says significant damage. Over here, we saw that it says likely to diminish the soil's productivity, which is quite close. Now let's keep this here. We won't say if it's incorrect or correct, but let's take a look at D so that we can definitely say if C is incorrect or correct. All right. So D says that the soil erosion in the United States could be reduced by converting cultivated land to meadow or forest. So there is a line about meadow and forest over here, which says that the country subsequently embarked upon a program to convert 11% of its croplands to meadow or forest. But it doesn't say that this approach helped them to reduce the soil erosion. So we can't say that B is correct. But since C says significant amount of damage, and this one also says that it was likely to diminish the soil's productivity at quite a high rate of 1/5, so we can say that the correct answer here will be C. Okay. Now, the next type of question to expect in the Ielts reading module is short answer. So you're going to be given a question, and they're going to give you a word limit, so it's either 2 or 3 words, so you need to answer using either 2 words or 3 words, okay? So you need to be able to locate details of the passage, understand what the passage is trying to say, identify what the question wants, and be direct. Again, this is short answers, so don't try to increase the number of words you're using to answer, because you won't be given marks if it's more than the word limit that they set. So be precise and answer directly. And you should also always check the number of words you can use and try to stay in the limit, because if you don't, then you won't get any marks for it. So this is a part taken from a passage. So let's look at the question first, then we're going to come back to this. So again, when you see the question, go ahead and read the instructions first. Here you can use no more than 2 words. That means you can either use 1 word or 2 words at maximum. And we're going to be solving 2 questions here today. So again, before reading the passage, you can skim through the question, highlight the important things. If I were you, I would say in the first question, grade change is kind of important, so I would say that's something to look for in the passage, and Africa as well. For the second question, social class is important, and it says has lost its monopoly of mobile phone use, so mobile phone also seems kind of important. So I would highlight the points that I was, points here, as you can see, social class, mobile phone use, grade change, and Africa. Now, you can pause the video here, read the passage, and try to find the words that we highlighted earlier. So if you're done doing that, now let's, I'll share how I would approach this question, reading this passage. So, again, we highlighted Africa and also grade change. So there is a revolution going on in Africa. And it says not a political one, but an economic one. So the driving force behind this revolution is the humble mobile phone. So this does seem like a great change, because it wasn't, it's something that is like a revolution. So it's a great change. So we've already found the first answer. Now for the second one, it was about the social class and about mobile phone usage. Over here, you can see it says, once the preserve of the elite, which was also the case in Europe and America not so long ago, the mobile phone is now ubiquitous, as there are over 600 million African subscribers. So here, Ielts is actually a social class, and they're also talking about mobile phone usage. So this is where we find the second question's answer. So I will highlight the points. So again, Ielts and the driving force. Now let's look at these two side by side. So the first one is asking the cause of the grade change. So the cause over here is actually, driving force is a similar word to cause. So the cause or driving force of the grade change that is taking place through Africa is mobile phone. So if you guess that answer, then your answer is correct. Okay? For the second one, it asks which social class has lost its monopoly of mobile phone use. So if you don't know, monopoly means you have exclusive access to something. So over here, when they said that once the mobile phone was only used by the elite, that means that they had exclusive access to mobile phones, and the other Africans didn't have access. So which social class has lost its monopoly? It's the elite class. So if you guessed the answer elite, then your answer is correct. Next, we're going to talk about completing sentences. This is a very simple, the questions related to this are very simple. So you have a sentence and you have a blank in between, or maybe after the sentence or at the beginning of the sentence, somewhere in the sentence, and you will have to fill in the blank. And when you do so, make sure that the word you put in makes the sentence grammatically correct. And so this way you know if whether you need to use a verb, a noun, or an adjective, and so on. You should be able to scan specific details and select appropriate words by understanding the passage. And you should always check the number of words that you can use for each blank. Okay, so this is a part of a passage. So let's look at the question first. Again, read the instructions. Here it says you can't use more than 2 words. And you can skim through the questions. Normally there are going to be at least 2 to 3 questions, but here we're only going to do 1. So read the question and try to highlight the important points. If I were you, I would say guilty is definitely important, that the schools are doing something that they're not supposed to, maybe. So guilty is a key point. And it's related to the needs of children, so that's also important. So now we'll try to find these words over here, or similar words. So at this point you can pause the video and try it out yourself. So if you're done reading the passage, let's proceed. So our keywords were guilty and needs of children. So here it says that the case of cycling to school, all parents want the very best for their children, particularly when it comes to school and school life. So far we have nothing related to school being guilty or needs to children yet. Next line, of course, they not only expect the school to take care of the mental needs of their children, but also, and this has been, so they're saying that the mental needs and physical needs has to be approached from From the second line, I can see that they mention the children's needs, and they're saying that the school has been neglecting the last 20 years. So the school has been neglecting the children's needs for the last 20 years. So we found the keywords already, and they're also neglecting their physical needs. So if I highlight the points here, so this last line is where we get the answer. Okay? So, according to the writers, schools are guilty of neglecting. So over here, it can be neglecting because it says of, so it's definitely a noun. So it will be neglect. So the right answer here is neglect. So guilty of the neglect of certain needs of the children. So that's it for today's video. If you liked this video, then go ahead and click on the like button below and subscribe to our channel to see this kind of similar videos in the future. Thank you for watching.